Hello there, welcome back to my channel. I am Emma, a wedding videographer based in Michigan. Today we are going over what to know before you shoot your first destination wedding. And I shot my first destination wedding in 2021, but it was the first wedding video I ever did, which was extremely high pressure and nerve-wracking. But for some reason, because we were in Cancun, I was really calm about it. But there are definitely some really good things to know before you shoot your first wedding video in a destination location, and we're gonna cover all those really important things right now. First things first, I was sent to Mexico. It was in Cancun, and so I was like, oh, it's Mexico, super unofficial, I don't need a visa. But I've watched so much Australian Border Patrol and even border security here in Michigan that you definitely need to try to get a visa, because if you do not get a visa and they find out you're planning on doing work in their country, they can boot you out and you can't do the wedding and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're leaving your couple completely high and dry. So definitely try to get a visa. Don't worry too much if you can't. If you're going to somewhere like Europe or Mexico, but some countries have such strict laws, and so like Australia, I've watched a lot of border security Australia, and they kick out people who are trying to do work there. And so just get a visa, make sure you are clear and free, because then you have authorization that you can be there. Also, somebody could call the border security on you while you're shooting the wedding or before. So it's just best if you nail all your bases down and make sure you have a visa. Next is get there earlier than the day before. If you have to, the morning before, but because you can never know weather or cancellations or all of the things that might come up when you're flying to a location, make sure you can get there as early as possible. Again, we don't want you leaving the bride and groom high and dry. That would just be so unfortunate and so bad. So just make sure you can make it there. That is the most important thing. I would also suggest staying on the same property as the bride and groom. If it's not a resort, then figure that out amongst yourselves. Transportation might be difficult, but at a resort, you need to stay on the property because it is so much easier. It's safer, first of all, for Mexico, and it's just like everything is there. You get to actually see where you're going to be shooting, all of the little places you could pose them, or how you're going to tell this story. It's super important to see the space and the location the day before, at least. Next is prep options for the weather. You never know what the weather is going to be, even if you have the weather app, so just come prepared with many options of what you're gonna wear, first of all. Second, what your camera is gonna wear if it rains, how you're gonna protect your camera and your gear and equipment. Along with the last one, make sure when you're scouting out areas that you are paying attention to where you could take them that's indoors or stuff like that, where there's always a backup option for weather, for wind, for literally any reason. Maybe the groom got too sunburned the day before and he wants to do most of the photos inside, stuff like that. Just always have like 3 backup plans. It's always a good idea, especially when you're far from home and not quite sure what the actual situation is going to be like. The next one is always have backup equipment. I know it's a lot more to travel with, but literally this first destination wedding that I shot, it was in Cancun. It was the morning before we walked into the bridal suite, and my friend who was the photographer had her like double harness strap on, and a camera just snapped off and it landed on the lens and the camera. She is so lucky nothing snapped or broke or the lens didn't break, but her harness was broken and she didn't have a backup, obviously. And so that is a situation you do not want to be in, because it could have been even worse if her lens had broken or her camera. And so I always try to have a backup of like 1,000 different things. You also want to make sure you have like batteries for all your equipment and like everything is charged and everything is good. So be prepared for any situation. Literally anything can happen on a wedding day, but it's even worse when you're in another country and you can't just go to a Best Buy and pick up something. Always be prepared, always have backup stuff. This is so important. And somebody flew you out to either a different state or a different country, you need to respect the people that brought you there and hopefully treat their day as best as you can, because this is such a huge thing for you and for them, so it's a really big deal. So just make sure you have all your bases covered. Last but not least, don't stress about the wedding day. I know it sounds so silly, but truly, if your bases are all covered, like I've been talking about, you will not have to worry about the day of. If you come with a game plan of how you're going to shoot things, or you've already shot weddings and you know how you're going to shoot things, you have backups and you're prepared for weather changes and you're prepared just for everything, don't stress about the actual wedding day. It's going to go so smoothly. Everybody for sure is in a more relaxed kind of state of mind, and it makes it so much more enjoyable on the actual wedding day because everybody's kind of just chill. And I get that not all brides and grooms are that way, but it super helps being in like a tropical destination, because as long as you are as prepared as you can be, then you don't have to worry about a single situation on the wedding day or not, because you are prepared and you can't control anything else that will happen on the wedding day. So just live it up. Enjoy the resort or wherever you're staying. Just have an enjoyable time. I mean, yeah, those are the best tips I can give you for preparing for your first destination wedding. If you have something different, leave it in the comments below. I think these are definitely things I wish I would have known before my first destination wedding. And what's crazy enough is that I still love that wedding video, because like everything about the day just went so perfectly. Even though it was my first wedding video, like there's so many areas I could have improved on, but my photographer friend who led them into some poses was just incredible, and the atmosphere and the environment and the lighting and like everything was so perfect and so beautiful that it really just made the video turn out easily perfect. I definitely highly recommend doing a destination wedding if you get the opportunity, and I hope this helps. If you have any more suggestions or comments, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!